Magic is all about a magician's ability to make everyone shy away from reality. And that's what makes magic tricks a great spectacle to watch. After all, curiosity is the first emotion which our human mind discovers. So be it David Blaine's impossible card trick, or the famous Mario Lopez's never-ending salt illusion. Hello and welcome back. And today, we're going to figure out the secrets behind some of the most famous magic tricks. So, let's get started. The first trick, the impossible card trick. David Blaine, the daredevil magician best known for stunts like freezing himself in a block of ice and regurgitating a live frog, once performed an amazing, jaw-breaking magic trick on The Tonight Show, where he left Quantico actress Priyanka Chopra and Jimmy Fallon both stunned and shocked by sewing his lips together and performing a terrifying card trick. Here's what he did. To start off the trick, he asked Jimmy whether they'd like to see a card trick or a needle and thread trick. While Jimmy picked the card trick, he decided to go with the other one instead. He requested Priyanka to film the act using Jimmy's cell phone. Using the phone's selfie mode, he looked at himself in the camera and pouted his lips. But instead of snapping a photo, he stuck a needle through his lips and pulled the thread through 3 times to seal his mouth. After watching this, Jimmy, trying to steady his nerves, took a deep breath. But David wanted Jimmy to pull the final stitch. He then signaled to Jimmy to tie a knot with the remaining thread. Now, with David's mouth successfully sewn shut, it appeared the act was over. However, David still wanted to complete his card trick. Without using any words, he signaled for Priyanka to pick one card from the deck without him seeing it. Once she did, he took that card, pulling off the corner, and gave that piece to Jimmy. David then gave the ripped card back to Priyanka, who put it in the deck. After that, he flung the cards into the air and let the cards rain down around him. Next, he pulled out a pair of scissors and signaled for Jimmy to cut open his stitches, but Jimmy passed the duties onto one of his band members. After opening his stitches, now with his open mouth, David Blaine handed back Priyanka's selected card to Jimmy with a touch of added saliva, leaving everyone shocked and stunned. So how did he do such an insane act? Well, before revealing the secret, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get instant notifications of our new uploads. Now, let's quickly get to the secret. First of all, you should never try such things at home or anywhere else. Now, coming to the secret, the sewing part you see is not a trick, and the card that Priyanka chose was forced onto her. Also, David never spit that selected card. The card you saw coming out of David's mouth was already inside of his mouth with an identical Jack of Spades. So let's first see the sewing part. The sewing part you see here is not a trick. It is, in fact, real. This part of David's performance relies more on his exceptional pain tolerance and skills rather than on manipulation or deception. Putting the needle through his lips is actually not that surprising because he has also pierced his hand with an ice pick and did not bleed a drop. So the only secret here must be lots of practice and exceptional pain tolerance capability. Now moving to the next part, card selection, and let's first see how the Jack of Spades card was forced. Here, David used a magician's common card technique called forcing a card. After pulling out the cards from the pack, as you can see, he applies a pinky break between the Jack of Spades and the rest of the deck. For those unfamiliar with the term, a pinky break is a technique used by card magicians to secretly mark a spot in a deck or slightly lift it up. So he intentionally positions the card exactly where he wants it in the deck. In this frame, you can see how he forced the card on Priyanka. Afterward, David tears off a corner of the card and asks Priyanka to place the torn card back into the deck. Then, he flung the cards into the air. Now, you might wonder about the Jack of Spades that came from David's mouth, perfectly matching the torn corner piece. Well, for that part, David uses another Jack of Spades that was already inside his mouth before the act started. Both identical cards, the one he forced and the one in his mouth, were pre-prepared. To create this effect, David stacked the 2 cards together and cut them simultaneously. The card on top was cut all the way through and placed in his mouth, while the card on the bottom was lightly marked with a sharp object. This marking allowed the card to be easily torn along a predefined line during the performance. You can see how easily Jimmy ripped the piece from the card, which confirms the card was pre-marked. The crease mark isn't visible on the card surface because it's on the backside. The only thing David needed to do was follow the marking and tear the corner along the predefined line. This ensured that the torn piece fit perfectly with the Jack of Spades already inside David's mouth. That's also why David tore the corner himself rather than letting the host do it. But what about the missing corner of the card thrown into the air? Wouldn't someone notice it when the cards landed on the floor? Well, the torn card was actually glued to the adjacent card beneath it using double-sided tape. That's why no one could easily identify it while the cards were thrown in the air. Now, coming to the end teleportation part, as you now know, the card wasn't teleported. David only pretended that the torn card from the thrown deck teleported in his mouth. In reality, an identical Jack of Spades had been hidden in his mouth before the trick began. To reveal the card, David signaled Jimmy to open the stitches on his lips. Afterward, David handed the identical Jack of Spades card to Jimmy with a touch of added saliva, leaving everyone stunned. After finishing the seemingly impossible card trick, David asked for a glass of water but felt something in his mouth. He then spit out a live frog, shocking everyone. To learn more about this incredible trick, watch the video linked in the description below after this one. It's a truly bizarre performance, but full credit goes to David for his masterful execution and unforgettable presentation. So finally, moving on to the last trick on our list, never-ending salt illusion. There's no one like Mario Lopez when it comes to bringing humor in any magic act. Known for his amazing cigarette tricks, here's what he did in this act. Mario brought a salt shaker for the trick, but struggled to open that. Then, his assistant brings a magic wand, and when he brings a magic wand close to the salt shaker, the lid popped off all on its own, leaving Mario amazed. The magician starts by putting a pinch of salt in one hand and says, "I believe in quality, not quantity." He then throws away the rest of the salt, even though there was hardly any salt left. But suddenly, a huge amount of salt begins pouring out of his hand. He shakes his hand, but the salt keeps falling like an endless stream. He throws the salt behind him, and more salt falls out. No matter what he does, his hand just keeps producing salt. He tries using his magic wand to clean his hand, but the salt keeps coming. He even rubs his hand on his jeans, but still, more salt falls. The magician looks completely surprised, as if he can't believe it. He then shows that his hand is empty, but even then, salt keeps pouring out. He tries to stop it by putting a finger under his hand, but now salt starts falling from his elbow. He tries to stop that by using his knee, but now salt is falling from his shoe. It seems like the salt is coming from everywhere. Finally, he shoves his hand into his pocket hoping to stop it, but now the salt is falling out of his zipper. No matter what he tries, the salt just won't stop. Just when it seems like it'll never end, the magician says a magic word, and finally, the salt stops falling. Quite a strange and funny trick. After seeing this incredible magic trick, everyone is totally amazed. So how did he manage to keep producing salt with just a pinch in his hand? Well, here's the secret. Now this trick involves 9 parts. Let's decode one by one. Opening the magic salt shaker. You might think the salt shaker is made of glass, but instead it's made of squeezable plastic, and the cap is only loosely attached. When Mario points his wand at the bottle and gives it a little squeeze, the pressure causes the cap to pop off suddenly. It looks like the wand did it, but it's really just a clever trick. Endless salt from empty hand. After the lid comes off, Mario takes some salt and talks about how he values quality over quantity. Now Mario has only a bit of salt in his hand, but then, out of nowhere, more salt begins falling from his hand. It looks like magic, but if you pay attention, you might notice something strange. The magician has something on his thumb. It's a fake thumb, a common tool used by magicians for tricks like this. When Mario moves the magic wand behind his back, he quickly grabs a fake thumb from his pocket and puts it on his right thumb. This fake thumb is filled with salt, and Mario slips it onto his left hand and extracts the salt to his palm from fake thumb, and then quickly takes the empty fake thumb back on his right hand. This clever move lets him keep the illusion going. Salt keeps falling from his hand, even though it's all coming from the fake thumb. Mario then reaches into his back pocket as if he's going for his magic wand, but when he pulls out the wand, he also slips off the fake thumb from his right thumb, making sure there's no salt left behind on his hand. Magic wand with a fountain of salt. Mario tries to clean his hand with a magic wand, but salt keeps falling no matter what he does. The secret behind this is the magic wand. Yes, the magic wand here is hollow with a tiny hole at the end, and it's already filled with salt. The magician covered the hole with his finger to stop the salt from falling out. He rotates the wand while pretending to clean his hand. The clever move brings the hole to the front, letting the hidden salt inside the wand pour out. It looks like the salt is falling from his hand, but it's actually coming from the wand, surprising everyone and making the trick seem magical. Throwing salt backward illusion. The magician throws salt backward from his left hand, and a lot of salt falls behind. However, the secret lies in a hidden pouch behind him, not his hand. Earlier, he used a fake thumb to hold salt, but it couldn't hold much. When he pretends to throw salt, he never opens his hand. Instead, he cleverly uses the hidden pouch to release the salt, making it seem like it's coming from his hand. This smart trick creates the illusion of a large amount of salt falling, surprising the audience with its magical effect. Salt from the jacket. Now Mario acts like he's cleaning his hand on his jeans, but salt keeps falling. How is that possible? Well, his jacket is hiding even more salt. If you watch closely, you'll see him press and shake a special part of his jacket. This causes the hidden salt to fall out, making it seem like the salt is coming from his hand, but really, it's coming from the jacket. He's tricking everyone with his clever use of hidden spaces. Salt from empty hand. Then, when it looks like all the salt is gone, the magician raises his hand again and more salt starts to fall. How does he keep doing this? Well, while he was rubbing his jeans, he secretly grabbed another fake thumb from his pocket. This fake thumb is also filled with salt, and he's using it to keep the illusion going. It feels like he has an endless supply of salt. Salt from sleeves. But the trick doesn't end there. Now the magician tries to stop the salt pouring from his hand. More salt dramatically starts falling from his sleeve. What's going on now? It seems like salt is magically pouring out of his elbow, but here's how it really works. The magician has a little compartment inside his sleeve, and inside the compartment there's more salt. This compartment is connected to a string which he's secretly holding. When he pulls the string, the compartment opens and the salt falls out. To make it look like the salt is falling from his elbow, he coordinates his movements carefully so everything looks smooth. Salt from shoes. As the salt continues to fall, the magician puts his elbow on his knee, and suddenly, salt begins to fall from his shoe. It seems like the salt is magically transferring from one place to another, but the real trick is that there's a hidden compartment in his shoe. Before he lifts his leg, the magician rubs his shoes together in a specific way. This causes a small rubber cork inside his shoe to pop open, and the salt starts falling out. The cork keeps the compartment closed until the magician wants to release the salt, and with a quick rub of his shoes, the salt pours out. Salt from the zipper. Finally, the magician tries to stop the salt from falling by putting his hand into his pocket, but of course, more salt starts falling from the zipper of his jeans. How is that possible? There's more salt hidden in his pocket, and as he moves his hand, he makes the salt fall out. Right before he pulls his hand out of his pocket, he secretly grabs more salt, so when his hand comes out, it looks like he's dropping even more. The salt just keeps coming. And there you have it, Mario Lopez's amazing salt magic act. The trick is all about carefully hiding the salt in secret places and making it look like it's coming from nowhere. But now you know the secret. Mario's salt trick is not just about producing endless salt, it's about creating a truly magical experience that leaves the audience in awe and wonder. So guys, hope you got the secrets behind the most famous magic tricks. Which trick did you like the most? Impossible card trick? Or the never-ending salt illusion? And name any other magic trick you would like us to reveal. Let us know in the comments below.
Do like and share this video with your friends on social media. For more such amazing things, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And finally, thanks for watching.